CinemaJaw is brought to you by Cards Against Humanity. Guess what?
What, Matt?
They asked us not to read an ad.
Are you kidding me?
I'm serious.
That is so cool.
Dead serious.
Wow.
Enjoy the show. You're listening to CinemaJaw, the greatest movies podcast ever, recorded on location at Hell's Gates in Chicago. My name is Matt Kay, and with me is...
Ryan, the movie guy. Sitting alongside us at Hell's Gate is not Elias Rodriguez. He's been taken that.
Again.
Yes.
It's the second year in a row.
I think he is scared to come out to the haunted houses.
Or they just got to him.
Yeah. So sitting alongside us is Fill Me In Phil.
How's it going, guys?
This week on CinemaJaw, Matt, we do our Halloween special.
Yeah.
Every October, we come out to Hell's Gate or Statesville Haunted Prison.
We go to a haunted house.
We do. And we cover a horror topic. This week, top 5 favorite ghost movies.
I love it, dude. I'm wearing my skeleton shirt. I'm ready.
This is a topic I am stunned that we did not cover. When we brought it up, we're like, we've never done ghosts. We've done 340 episodes of CinemaJaw,
Well,
and we have not hit ghosts.
we do horror once a year. You know, we've done vampires and demons and, various other topics. But yes, somehow we miss ghosts. So
Yes,
here we are.
Absolutely. We have a great guest who is going to be joining us on this episode.
Sure. It's become an annual tradition. John LaFlamboy, who is the owner-operator of Statesville Haunted Prison and the new Hell's Gate, is going to be joining us once again
Yes.
to talk some horror.
And I know you said Hell's Gate and from Chicago, but right at the top of the show, Hell's Gate is located at 3101 Canal Street in Lockport, Illinois. So we're roughly about an hour outside of Chicago. It takes 45 minutes to an hour. And wow, it was awesome. We just walked through it. So
It is.
it's
really cool.
We'll talk to John about that. Besides that, we have a whole lot more going on, don't we, Phil?
Yeah, absolutely. We're also going eye for an eye on The Foreigner.
And we have a review of Blade Runner 2049.
Awesome. Can't wait to talk about Blade Runner as well. Big show already.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And since we are at Hell's Gate, Matt, I figured what a great time to play Hell's Gate movie trivia.
Okay.
Think of movie titles with either Hell in the title or Gate in the title.
Well done, Ryan.
You like it?
I do.
Yeah. Also, I was coming here and, going to a haunted house. It got me thinking of the scariest movie setting. A place that is just absolutely frightening. Not the people or the contents inside the location as much as just the building.
Yeah.
And there's one that I know
Just stands out.
Yeah, we've talked about it, and I know this
Lots
one
of
scares
times.
you.
Yeah.
This one scares the heck out of you.
Yeah.
No doubt it is.
It's the Overlook
Amityville
Hotel.
Horror House.
No,
Amityville Horror
it's
House.
the Overlook Hotel.
Oh, my God.
Are you kidding me? The Shining?
The windows in the Amityville Horror House?
Oh.
Come on. It's the
Your
gateway to
stupid
hell.
windows. CinemaWAR.
Ooh, John is going to have his hands full with that one right there.
He sure is.
Yes. All right, Matt. It is also, believe it or not, we took a week off. So we did not get a riddle last week. And we did promise the Jawheads a new riddle every single month. This is the first time we are recording in October. So we start with a new riddle. And always when we get there, we do have to pick a winner for the old one. So remind the Jawheads, because there is a lot of controversy going on. Remind the Jawheads what the September riddle was.
Supposed to be the hardest so far.
Right.
Here it is. I have played a teenager who kills her friend's mom. I have been illiterate, but I've also starred in a Jane Austen adaptation. I was nominated for an Oscar playing opposite Jim Carrey in one film, and though now divorced from him, I did make a movie which my then husband directed. Finally, in one film, I played a character that lives to be 104 years old. Who am I?
Yes, as I said, I wanted these to be getting progressively harder, and I failed here.
Yeah, you sure did.
This
Spectacularly.
September ended up being the most correct entries ever that we've ever had since we've been doing the riddle. So I clearly failed there. They came in so many. If you're listening to this and you get an email from me that says, "Hey, you are correct. Thanks for playing your names in a hat." This month, I actually didn't even get through them all because there were just so many correct answers. So I did get your answer and I put you in the hat, but I didn't even have time to write back to how many correct answers there were.
Sure.
They were just kept coming. One of them in particular here was Octavio Gonzalez. She writes in, "Hey guys, long-time listener, first-time writer from Zamaro, Mexico."
Oh.
She writes, "Rye, are you kidding me? This is by far the easiest riddle. I guess I'm missing the joke when you said they are supposed to be getting harder and harder each month. The answer to the riddle is Kate Winslet. She was a teenager who killed her friend's mom in Heavenly Creatures. She was illiterate in The Reader and also starred in Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility. She was nominated for Best Actress in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Her then husband, Sam Mendes, directed her in Revolutionary Road, and her character lives to be 104 years old in Titanic.
She got them all.
Yes. She goes on to say, love you guys. You are by far my favorite podcast. Thank you for the good times and the several hidden gems. Keep it up, and looking forward to the obviously upcoming Guillermo del Toro top 5.
It's going to happen.
I like that suggestion.
I think it's going to happen.
That is Octavio from Zamora, Mexico. Thank you. Awesome to hear from her.
It's awesome.
And here she's saying, are you kidding me, right? Here was the thing. I thought the very first clue that I killed my friend's mom as a teenager, I did not realize
That's a dead giveaway. No pun intended.
so many jawheads would know Heavenly Creatures. In my opinion, it was somewhat of a hidden gem, but I'm glad so many people knew this movie because it's awesome. So I thought, oh, okay, if they know Heavenly Creatures, they got the riddle, and everything just flows from there. So
Sure.
there were a ton of correct entries given this month. I promise, Matt, October is going to be harder. Before we get there, let me dip into the hat and pull out a winner. All right, here we go. The winner for the September riddle is Lloyd Green of Farmington, Connecticut. Lloyd,
Nice.
there you go.
Connecticut.
Lloyd. All right. Yeah, you're home close to it, right?
Stomping grounds.
Okay.
Sure.
Lloyd, send us your address, feedback@cinemajaw.com. We will get a prize pack out to you. All right, Matt. Here it is.
Yeah.
And I'm taunting people like Octavio, right? Try to get, just try, please, try me. Get this October riddle. Hit it, man.
I like when you taunt him. All right, here we go. October's riddle. I have played Matt Damon's brother. I have also portrayed a famous television actor in a movie. I starred with Pierce Brosnan in a film when he was not playing James Bond. I have played a motivational speaker. I have been Jack Nicholson's neighbor, and I have played a ghost in a comedy. Who am I?
If you know the answer to the October riddle, write us feedback@cinemajaw.com. And if you are correct, and I promise, I think this one is harder, I promise, we will throw your name in a hat and we will pull out one lucky winner and send them a prize pack.
Yeah,
Sound good?
sounds good.
All right. We'll remind the people of the riddle at the end of the show, too.
As we always do.
Yeah. So without further ado, Matt, we bring in our guest. As you mentioned at the top of the show, this has become a tradition to come out to either Statesville or now Hell's Gate, go through a haunted house.
It's a treat.
The best haunted house in the Midwest, and in my opinion, the best haunted house in the country, because I really haven't been any outside of the Midwest, so I think this is the best in the country. Don't you agree? That's my logic. It's absolutely incredible.
Well, like you, right? I've mostly been to haunted houses in the Midwest, and yeah, of course I agree.
I agree. So it's a pleasure. John LaFlamboy, welcome back to CinemaJaw.
Thanks for having me, guys. And I got to do this real quick. I got to...
Yep.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
The only show that encouraged me to drink on it. I love it.
I think that's a big part of why you keep having us back. So
Yeah, I agree.
You guys keep bringing me beer.
we will never
and I
let you
keep
down.
drinking it. It's really... This is a great relationship.
I mentioned to you after we came through the haunt, and I mean it. I think this is the best show that you guys put on. This was
Thank you.
spectacular.
Thank you
going
so
through
much.
it. One of the big improvements, and we should mention this, that Hell's Gate, you start off basically going through woods.
Haunted forest,
Yeah,
if you will.
Yeah. What is there a proper name? Do you guys give it?
Yeah, so, I mean, the way we... let our customers know what they're about to go through. And we start out with this. Hell's Gate is not just a haunted house. It's an adventure. And so they have to take that bus down Murder Road.
Which is damn creepy.
It's really scary.
Yeah,
It
love
is.
I mean, I'm creeped out on that at night when I'm locking up and going home at night. So you go down Murder Road. You get dropped off in a vacant lot. And then you have to walk through the forest, across the cemetery, and then up to the house. And then it starts. Then you got to go through Hell's Gate,
Yep.
which is a 1920s mansion hidden in the woods. So yeah, we're very excited about the idea that, and you're both right. This doesn't exist anywhere in Illinois. This doesn't exist in most places in the Midwest. I've never seen it. To have that full outdoor adventure to find the house, and that's kind of what we really like about it out here. It's why we're out here in the woods.
Yeah, and I would say that was what I was so pumped about, that I saw improvement, too, from last year
Oh, yeah.
to this year, that outdoor adventure, going through the woods. that was my favorite part. I absolutely loved it.
Well, and it wasn't like some high level intelligence figuring all this out.
Right.
It was me following you guys.
Yeah.
We were customers, guests when
sure.
you come to the haunt, and I watched the guests react to the woods, to the cemetery, to those parts, and it was like, oh, they really like it out here in the woods.
It's awesome.
So as a designer, it just made perfect sense. Like, all right, they're really digging the woods in the graveyard. I can do something with that. I can create things out here that are going to really up that experience and up that adventure and of course, up the scares.
Sure.
I mean...
It was... the woods are scary as hell. I mean, you say, and then it starts. But really, listen, for people who are listening to this from other parts of the world, it starts before you even get here, because you have that anticipation of what's going to happen when you're going out for a haunted house. And then I don't want to diminish this or kind of leave it on the table. That road is incredibly spooky. And then you finally get here and you wait online, but then you go through these woods and it's scary as hell.
It is. You got these fog machines and you got the light beaming through the woods. So it just has this like picturesque.
It's like got a pumpkin head.
It really, there was one point I was like, just turn around and just take a picture of this because of the beaming lights. It
Right.
was so beautiful in a scary way.
Yeah, it plays that balance of just like, you have this awe of its beauty, and then you get caught in that awe of the
And
beauty.
then somebody jumps out at you.
And then these trained actors are coming at you from every direction
Yep.
because they know you're in awe because it is beautiful. It's crazy.
Yes.
When you walk up on what appears to be a 40-foot redwood tree and you have to walk through the rotten tree. Like
That was awesome, by
It
the
was
way.
incredible.
people just stop and they're like, no way that's a thing. It's like, and that's such a great opportunity for us then to, of course, add those scares in there because, I mean, it's human nature, man. Don't go in the woods at night.
Yeah.
If you go in the woods at night, shit eats you in the woods at night. Like, that's been in our head since we were cavemen.
These were the highlights for me was, yes, this rotted tree that you had to basically go get... crouch down and go through. Then you had this tunnel where it was fog, but you had the lasers at about chest level.
Yeah.
And I was telling Matt and Phil were in front of me, and it looked like it was just half their body because the way the laser is, I couldn't see below them because of the fog. What an effect that was. That was awesome.
And it's a fun old school effect that friends of ours at Froggy's Fog have perfected. Like, we've always done this back in the day, like with theater gear and par cans and ellipsoidals and trying to control the light to hide an actor. And then Froggy's Fog went out and just like designed these lasers to do it perfectly. And for me, one, you've got that moment of awe. What am I standing in?
Yeah.
What is this? And as soon as I got you asking those questions, well, then the actors are coming up from below because you can see nothing below your own chest.
Right.
So there are people down there with he's got these great little noisemakers down there, and I love hearing the noise, like insects around your feet.
Yeah.
And then coming up from that light, it's working out.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, that was
one other one
spooky.
I have to mention that really, really got me. I think my pants weren't dry anymore after this one. Was at the opening, you have this gate with all these bones going up and over the thing. Then
Real cow bones.
like cow bones.
Yeah.
And then when you're in the middle of the woods, you get to a point where there's like this old fence or gate or something.
It's the cemetery, I
and
think.
it looks like it's just more of these bones going up the thing, but it's actually a guy in costume.
Oh, yeah.
With the bones, but the way he's clenched on, it just looks like it's like a set design. All of a sudden, it's a guy.
Yeah,
he's
he
in this-
moves.
Oh my God, did that get me?
I think that's the Wendigo out there. The Wendigo. Yeah, he's great.
Great costume.
Yeah. How many people work here getting the people into costume, like that are just doing the makeup?
So on makeup, we have about 6 people on staff on makeup and about 2 people in costumes. I mean, it's not a lot. It's
because it's incredible work.
Yeah, it's not a huge team, but what we have is we have a really great team. We have a really great makeup team, a really great costume team, and a really great management team that organizes all these actors and gets them exactly where they need to be, so we can put them in a position to win. That's the goal. It's get every one of these actors in a place where they look good, they feel good, and they're ready to rock. And we got a really great team here to do that.
So this is the second year of Hell's Gate. And last year,
For us, yeah.
Yeah, for you guys, I should say. This is a resurrected.
Yeah,
Haunted House.
from the 80s, yeah.
So I remember last year sort of, I don't know, like growing pains, right? I mean,
yeah.
you weren't expecting the response that you got, which is a great problem to have.
Yeah, we ended up with like double the attendance that we thought would ever come to a first-year haunt.
Sure. this year, what have you guys done to improve it and iron out the kinks?
Sure. So, like I was saying earlier with the designing, it's my way of designing is to follow the customers. Follow the customers and see how they react. See what they're oohing and eyeing at. Seeing what they're like, and it's they're my babies. Every one of those scares and designs are my babies. So it's finding a way to adjust them or to kill your baby, if it didn't work out. With last year, it wasn't just the designs, which is typically the big thing we're always working on. It was also the infrastructure. We did something that nobody is doing. Nobody has done. There's no playbook to this. Mm-hmm. We have a mansion in the middle of the woods. This is not a place people can get to. So it came with all these other infrastructure challenges. And last year we had a real hard time the first weekend. No lie. It was actually a year ago right now, guys. It was the Chicago Marathon weekend.
Yep.
And we expected 2,500 people all weekend, and we got 9,000. And the big problem is we just simply didn't have enough buses to get them down Murder Road. And so it created all these lines on top of lines on top of lines. And for 3 days, our first opening 3 days, that's all the reviews were about were the lines.
Yeah.
That was soul crushing.
Sure.
I've worked on this idea for 10 years, and I got my ass kicked by lines because everyone showed up. So it was really hard because, I love the customers. I love doing the show. So it was like heartbreaking that they weren't having a good time because of something as silly as buses, but we couldn't do a damn thing about it because it was Chicago Marathon. Every bus in a 3-state area was rented for the Chicago Marathon.
Oh, man.
So, for example, on Friday night of opening weekend, we did 2,000 people. Pretty decent number for a first-year haunt. Our last group went in at 2:15 in the morning. That is
crap.
That is awful. That is atrocious.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Wow.
On Sunday, today, basically a year ago, only 4 days into the whole thing, the marathon was over. We could get more buses. We did 2,000 people on a Sunday, and our last group went in at 10:15.
Wow.
A 4-hour difference
Yeah.
by adjusting a little bit of infrastructure. So that was a big thing for me. I don't want my customers to ever go through that. I want them to have a great experience the entire time. Mm-hmm. So this year, I even made a video about it, put it on our website. Straight up, my name is John LaFlamboy, and I am responsible for what happened here last year. And this is what I did to fix it. We got a fleet of buses. We have more than enough buses because we're never going to get to that again. We're never going to let the quality of our show be affected by buses. So 1, we got more buses. 2, they wanted more scares in the forest. So we packed
you
the
did
forest.
that.
Yeah.
It's the best.
By the sound of it, from what you're saying, I think we nailed that.
Yeah, loved it.
They wanted more zombies and more scares in the graveyard.
Done.
Sounds like we got it?
Yeah.
And then inside the haunt, after the slide, when it takes you to the basement, they wanted more scares down there. And everything
You added a
down
whole
there.
new section.
Oh, yeah, it's all new.
You
It's
got that
almost
whole
all new
morgue.
down there.
The whole
Yeah.
morgue down there is
Yeah,
awesome.
the cellar morgue, the entire lab down there.
The lab was awesome.
The new key room is more of a high impact where you got to actually find secret holes in the crates to find the key.
And sticking your hand in is always terrifying. Yes.
I get to play my Little Red Schoolhouse jokes. You guys ever been to the Little Red Schoolhouse?
No.
It's like a cute little animal sanctuary out in the forest. I think it's like Hickory Hills. And when I was a kid, they make you reach into these boxes and guess what's in there, like bones or fur. And it was the scariest thing in the world when I was a kid. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm bringing that back. I'm bringing that thing back I remember from when I was 5. And so that's what we've done to the key room is, we make you stick your hands in those boxes to find a key, and you don't know what's in those boxes.
You're right.
And that's so much more fun and so much more exciting.
The unknown is
and
always
people
so
are having
scary.
a blast. We've got like 6 key winners a night.
Wow.
So people are finding the key, they're winning their ticket, free ticket. So it's all working out, and the big thing was a commitment to our audience. We knew after the first year there are things that need to be addressed. A lot more people showed up, and chances are they're going to keep showing up. I mean, it's a zombie army show.
Yeah.
We got a lot of fans out there, and so for them, we took $0 out of last year. We put every penny back into the show.
Nice.
We also have 2.5 times more actors here. We started last year with 47 actors on staff. This year, there's 120 of them down there every single night.
Jeez.
Yeah, we're not wasting no time here. We're going strong.
Yeah, in fact, there were a couple of scares, and I do love these when you're going through the house and you think it's a statue because they're, you go past a couple that are
that's
just,
that's a classic. Is
right?
it real? Is
Yeah,
it a
right?
statue?
So
Yeah.
it's like, you go past a couple of dummies, and then you think the third one's going to be a dummy. But that happened so many times. I kept thinking in my head, well, there's just can't be this many actors in there because it was happening constantly. But there were. It was still getting me. I'm
Yeah,
like,
there's a lot.
It's another guy. Damn you. Awesome.
That was awesome, man.
Yeah.
Good job this
Thanks,
year.
guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So again, Hell's Gate is located 3101 Canal Street. Best time to go, you always say, is a Thursday, right?
Yeah. Oh, I love when people come on Thursdays.
Because you have the most time to go through the house.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like I just said, I got over 120 actors here, right? On a Thursday, my average audience is like 300 people. And they're not all here at once. So it's almost like you got an actor per customer. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's such a nice show because we get to put you in real small groups. Mm-hmm. And I always think a haunted house is better when you're in a small group. We're always trying to do that.
Sure.
Come on a Thursday. Same amount of actors, same show, just shorter lines or no lines, and a much more, I would say, custom show. We really get to have fun with you.
A little aggressive, maybe?
It's like, I don't know if aggressive is the right word as much as they are on you.
Yeah.
Because they're not worried about who's coming behind you. Because there's nobody behind you. It's Thursday.
They're hungry.
So, it's like they know you're theirs, and they get to spend a little time with you.
That's awesome.
That is. Now, are you guys still doing the web videos?
Oh, yeah. Days of the Living Dead is our reality web series. You could check the show out on daysofTheLivingDead.com. And this year it is exclusively at Hell's Gate. Ooh. And it's very much this year, the episodes are very much about what we've been talking about. What we did this year to address opening year. And so the audience gets to go backstage, gets to see what we did out in the forest, gets to see why we built that giant fallen tree and filled it with bees, gets to see why I wanted to make the bottom of the slide in the basement aggressive instead of a visual spectacle. I wanted it in your face coming right at you. Mm-hmm. So they get to see all that in the show. We also have some great, that you like the laser floor.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you get to see how we made it.
Oh,
We did a
awesome.
do-it-yourself video on how to do a laser floor, so you can check that out on the show. We have a do-it-yourself how to make a Hell's Gate zombie. So we have a lot of fun with the show,
That's
bringing
awesome.
people backstage and showing them how we do it.
Oh, man. I'm sure the Jawheads would love to watch that, So
Yeah.
that's good. And then also, are we still shooting zombies with paintballs out at Statesville?
The zombies are still being shot by paintballs out at Statesville. Yes.
That's pretty awesome. And Statesville, 30% new?
Yeah, every year Statesville is always going to be 30% new, same as Hell's Gate. I mean, that's the Zombie Army way, and it doesn't matter if we don't know what we're gonna tear down. We just make ourselves do it, and then you got to be better. So like the challenge of Statesville this year was a real tough one. I tore down the Maniac Ward, and that's one of my favorite designs. I mean, I've loved that for years now. But like I said, sometimes you got to kill your babies.
Yeah.
And so I killed my baby. And then I had a giant empty room. And I'm like, oh, my God, I killed my baby. And I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make a better baby. But the new Maniac Ward of Statesville is unreal, man. It's incredibly successful. The audience loves it.
Awesome.
God, I want to go through Statesville now.
Yeah. I'm
Let me
all
know,
excited.
guys. I'll get you tickets.
Yeah, I'm pumped after going through Hell's Gate. 4 tickets. If you're anywhere in the Midwest, definitely come on out. Hellsgate.com. Buy tickets in advance. Come out on a Thursday, like John said. You'll have a total blast.
Yep.
I thought it went extremely smooth today. I love how we went right from the forest right to the front of the mansion. And while you're waiting to go in there, you got a couple actors out there having a good time with the crowd.
Oh, they're great.
Absolutely
They really
amazing.
are.
I mean,
Good.
the costumes are incredible. I mean, literally, it's just fun to look at, and
Thank you.
hang out
Thank
there.
you.
The
So.
details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and
Big
we're going
time.
to keep bigging it. Every year is going to get bigger, 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 bigger.
Cool.
Awesome.
Just big the show.
Yeah.
Big the show.
So get out here to Hell's Gate this Halloween season. But, John, we do like to end all of our guest interviews with some silly cinema cues, get to know the guest through the eye of the lens. Phil, what do you got for John?
All right, John, I got 2 for you. So the first one, you had said, since you like following your guests to know what spooks them and prepare and help make the next year's house a lot better, if you could follow any famous horror movie protagonist for a day and figure out what's scaring them, who would you pick and why?
A horror movie protagonist.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Phil.
Where the spooks are real.
Yeah, you know what? I gotta say, I want to follow Simon Pegg and Shaun of the Dead because I think I'd have a great time. Yeah, that's just pure selfishness. I think I'd have a hoot. So I want to follow Simon Pegg and Shaun of the Dead.
Hey, you'd be having a beer at the
Yeah.
What's the bar?
The
Winchester.
Winchester.
The Winchester.
Yeah.
Just make sure you don't get any red on your shirt. That might
Hey,
upset
got
him.
red on ya.
And then the second one, while we were setting up our gear, we had heard this really creepy cover of Maneater by Hall & Oates, which one is amazing. I think that needs to be said. But the question is, if you could make another spooky cover of any movie song, what would you pick and why?
Ooh, spooky cover of a song that I like. Oh, geez.
Phil's coming with the deep stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. God, you know what? I always thought Bohemian Rhapsody could get real dark if you let it.
Yeah.
You know, he always seems to have that gleeful kind of upbeat, "Mama, just kill."
Kill the man.
Yeah, I'd like to
Yeah.
see that go dark. I'd like to see that go dark. I
Spooky.
think
Sure.
put some guitar riffs on that. I should tell it. My brother's band, 20 Spot. I should tell them to play that. They should put that on their cover list.
It
I
wouldn't
like
take
that.
much to make it dark, right? Given the
Right?
subject matter.
Yeah, I mean, all you'd have to do is really, just different chord progression or key change.
Right,
I don't know.
minor
I'm not a
key.
musician, so.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's a good pick.
I think you could do that and change the key of the whole thing. Go real low and yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like it.
I just killed a man.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That's good. We got something to look forward to next year, didn't we?
I agree. John, before we get to Eye for an Eye, where's the best place on social media to follow Zombie Army Productions and Hell's Gate and all that
You know,
good
you
stuff?
could go to the official Zombie Army Productions Facebook page. We are always loading that stuff with content. It is constantly a place for us to drop coupons, alerts, special deals on new shows we're doing, all that information. If you're looking specifically for Hell's Gate, go to the Hell's Gate Facebook, especially if you're coming out here. We throw massive coupons on our social media for Hell's Gate. So check that out. I would definitely go there if you're coming to Hell's Gate.
Awesome. Do it, Jawheads. Brings us to a segment called Eye for an Eye, Phil.
Yes, Eye for an Eye. The Foreigner. A humble businessman with a buried past seeks justice when his daughter is killed in an act of terrorism. A cat-and-mouse conflict ensues with a government official whose past may hold clues to the killer's identities. The film stars Jackie Chan and is directed by Martin Campbell, who directed the Bond films GoldenEye and Casino Royale, however, also directed the 2011 dud The Green Lantern. Rye, we throw it over to you.
I mean, I know there's probably some Jackie Chan fans in the room. I'm not one of them. Not a big fan at all. This seems like it's something out of Liam Neeson's playbook. I'm ignoring. Matt?
I am a Jackie Chan fan.
I know it.
Yeah.
Super Cop, great stuff in his earlier career. Lately, not so much. I don't know what it is. He's just kind of cashing checks these days. Yeah, man. Dude, Green Lantern, I will never forgive you for that. Ignore.
John, interested or ignore on The Foreigner?
You know what? I'm interested because it's Jackie Chan, and I am a fan of Jackie Chan as a filmmaker. I myself am an amateur at best filmmaker, and I love and respect that man for all the stunts he does, how he designs such interesting choreography with his fights, how he plays that edge of funny and scary with those violent scenes, and really because of the 10 minutes of all the failures that he plays at the end of the credits.
Sure.
I will watch the movies for that alone, to watch the bones he broke in the movie. For that, I'll respect him enough to watch his movie, but no, I will not go to a theater to see it.
We still give him an interested, though. Over to Phil. What do you think?
I am making it 2 for 2. I'm with John on this for the exact same reasons. I also love Jackie Chan. Rye, you're the only one, and I don't know how that's even possible. And my main reason is Jackie Chan just seems like a really cool guy. I don't know. I don't know if you guys are older than me, so you might not even know it exists. But there was a Jackie Chan cartoon show.
Oh, yes. I've
that
seen it.
was awesome. And like they had like these.
I don't know about that.
No, it was. If you were a kid and you watched it, it was definitely awesome. And they had like these last 5 minutes of the show were always just Jackie Chan talking, like John said, about the stunts and the choreography, and it just is really cool. And again, for that, I will absolutely see it.
Okay. 2 interesteds, 2 ignores for the foreigner.
It's been a long time since he's done those stunt reels at the end of the movies, guys.
Yeah.
That's
But
Not in the
Still love
cartoon.
'em.
Still love him. Still love him.
Matt, speaking of new movies, back in 1982, the neo-noir sci-fi classic Blade Runner was released. Maybe not an instant hit right when it was released, but as time went on, it became a cult classic and finally realized for its greatness. 35 years later, Ryan Gosling steps in to lead a sequel, Blade Runner 2049. We hit the theaters to see if it can replicate the magic of the first.
I thought you might be able to help me with the case. Any idea where I could find him?
You police plan on taking me in?
I would much prefer that to the alternative.
Blade Runner 2049 takes place 30 years after the original, which was set in Los Angeles 2019. The opening is very similar to the original. After some opening information about the replicants, why the replicants were invented, and why they are dangerous, we meet our Blade Runner. This time he is played by Ryan Gosling. A Blade Runner is someone who tracks down replicants and terminates them. After taking out his first replicant, he discovers an odd box buried on the grounds of a protein farm. The contents of the box ends up being the bones of a female replicant. After diagnosing the remains, a major discovery is found. She gave birth to a baby. The ramifications of this are huge. It is the start of a new species and could mean the end of the human race. Gosling's new quest is to find the replicant that was born and not created and to terminate him or her. This already is interesting premise, but connecting it to the first with Harrison Ford raises the stakes emotionally. Yes, Harrison Ford's Deckard returns as Gosling's character is on a quest that leads him right to him. Following the blueprint of the first Blade Runner, 2049 is a neo-noir film, and it is striking to look at. I feel comfortable saying this, Matt. It is the best-looking film I have ever seen. Each and every scene and moment in the film was cotton candy for the eyes. From the lighting, set design, reflections, rain or water shimmering, this is a work of art visually that does not have many equals. The main theme of the film, what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be real? This time around, I felt such sympathy for Gosling's character. One scene in particular was crushing. I could see some younger audience members maybe having trouble with the pacing of the film. On that note, I say this, though. It's not the film's fault, but the audience's short attention span. Director Denis Villeneuve gave us Arrival just last year and given us a worthy sequel here, one that I think actually surpasses the original. I loved Blade Runner 2049. Matthew, are you with me on this?
Yeah, and I wouldn't say cotton candy for the eyes. I would say caviar for the eyes. This is up there literally with Citizen Kane. I don't think that's too strong a statement to make. Every single camera angle shot, even the digital stuff, but especially the practical stuff, is so beautifully photographed that it almost takes you out of the story just looking at it as like from a still camera perspective. Completely unsurpassed, period. One of the most beautiful films you've ever seen. Actually, I think you said the most beautiful.
Yes.
I agree. I think it's the most beautiful film I've seen maybe in my entire life as well.
I would actually
I put it up with Citizen Kane.
Yeah, I would actually go so far as what you were saying was you could almost forget the story of what was going on because the visuals were so striking at times. I was just getting lost at looking at man, they put in a lot of work on this. The lighting of this. I mean, the reflection of the rain coming down. There was a scene where Gosling is talking to a character who creates dreams. She's in a glass bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And
no, she creates memories. For the replicants.
I'm sorry, I'm saying dreams. I mean memories, right? And she's in this glass bubble, and the reflection of Gosling in the glass while he's talking to her is unbelievable. Exactly what they pulled off, and the image of it.
Crazy, but the story is also really good and keeps you going throughout. I mean, it was that slow burn. You get that detective noir feel that you got from the original Blade Runner and the old school noir detective stories. It wasn't like balls out action, which is something I was really worried it was gonna be. They didn't screw it up.
No, they didn't. I mean, it really does follow the formula of the first. Where
I agree. It might be better.
It's, we just came from it, just saw it
Sure.
like in the last day, so it's tough to let it marinate for a little while. But when I walked out of there, I had the feeling like, wow. I mean, I love Blade Runner, and I walked out and I thought, God damn it, I think this is better than Blade Runner. So
there are some themes at play here. You were talking about what themes did you bring up?
Oh, I was talking about what it means to be real. What does
Sure.
it mean to be human?
And these are obviously important themes in the first Blade Runner, but there was a couple like intimacy and the nature of love in an artificial world when you're interacting with artificial intelligence, kind of like Her.
Mm-hmm.
It had a feel like there was a little bit of Her in
Yes.
this movie.
Yeah, and there's one scene in particular. So Gosling is basically in love with this hologram that's an artificial intelligence. That's really all it is. And then it has a hologram. And there's one scene where like a hooker comes over and the hologram sort of takes over her body.
Yeah,
That
which
was
is
unbelievable.
that was visually unbelievable, but if anything, that's a bit of a weak moment because it's right out of Her. It is.
It is.
So
But I liked it.
I liked it too. They
Yeah.
did it better.
Favorite scene in the movie?
My favorite scene in the movie has got to be. I mean, that one's a definitely good one. Even though I didn't like the Her part, but he's walking late in the movie down a bridge and he comes across this holographic advertisement that starts talking to him. And I can't talk about what the exchange was because it's a bit of a spoiler. But
And the hologram's a giant figure talking to him.
right, it's got to be like a 65-foot tall woman
Yeah.
who's nude and wearing a bright blue wig, talking to Ryan Gosling's character, who's been through the ringer at this point in the movie. And it was just a great interaction. It really said a lot to him about where he was as not a human, but as a being. I love that scene.
Yeah, how about this? For my favorite scene is when Harrison Ford now is introduced, and it's Harrison Ford, Ryan Gosling, and at the point they don't know exactly how they feel about each other. Are they enemies or what? And they're walking to a nightclub. The nightclub then is populated by holograms that would play old music.
It was Elvis and Marilyn
Elvis
Monroe.
comes on, and there is this shot of Elvis singing with Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling. The room is just lit like neo-noir classic. It's got the cool colors
It's a
going
60s
on.
lounge.
It
Yeah.
is a pimp of a moment. It's like, wow, that is awesome.
Well, they're in Las Vegas,
Yeah.
and they're in an old. I think that might even be in the Luxor, right?
Is that what
'Cause
they are?
I think so. It's like a pyramid. So yeah, that's an awesome moment.
Any problems that any scenes that you had problems with?
Yes. Listen, I'm just gonna lay this right out on the table. Jared Leto. I'm sorry. I know the guy's got an Oscar, right? I don't know why. And can we stop casting him? He is the weak link in this movie.
I didn't have that big of an issue with them.
I'm sorry. I'm going ahead and saying it. Like,
Love Jared Leto.
do you?
I do.
Did you love him as the Joker in
You know what? I didn't hate him as the Joker because you know what I liked about him as the Joker is I hadn't seen that before. And I watched it twice, because there was so much criticism about him as the Joker. And I watched it a second time and I was like, it's different and it's unique. And if people hate it, they should talk to the director because he definitely gave us something that was 100% commitment and strange.
He did.
And I love his music. I've seen him perform many times. I think he's one of the. When you're looking for that rock star on stage, man, does he deliver as a musician? I've loved his work as an actor through and through. So yeah, I'm
This is
a
the
little,
weak link for me, man.
Wow, in all movies you think he's a weak
No,
link?
I don't
or
know.
this movie. 'Cause I haven't seen this movie. You guys, your review makes me want to go see
Yeah.
it right now. Like, sorry, actors, I'm leaving the haunted house. I got to go see Blade Runner. But that's so sad to hear because I
Yeah.
love Jared Leto.
I didn't
like him.
have that big of an issue with him here. I mean, he's definitely playing a strange character. His eyes. Well, he has this element. All right,
He's got
he can't
implant
see.
eyes.
Yeah, he can't see. He's blind, and so he has this implant eyes, which I thought this is a really cool effect. He basically has these like flying cameras.
Drones.
Yeah, drones, and they come out and they got like a weird sound to them, and they're all around the person that he's talking to, and that's how he is able to see what he wants to see. I like that whole aspect of it.
That was
pretty
cool.
creepy.
It's very cyberpunk, which is awesome.
And the rooms that he populated, that he was in, with like either water on the floor or everything in this movie just looked cool. All the sets were absolutely amazing. For mine worst scene, I have the evil replicant. There is this girl who is also trying to seek out this baby, replicant that would have grown up to be. And at one point, she goes into the morgue and starts stealing the remains. And that happened way too easy. I for a movie that's sort of like a noir, detective type movie, all of a sudden she just gets down into the morgue, knocks a guy out and grabs the bones. I don't know. That probably wouldn't have happened. Only issue I had, and that's a minor complaint.
Sure.
Influences, Matt?
I mean, I mentioned her. I think that's probably one that a lot of people are going to bring up. So
yeah,
there it is.
I thought her to some degree, obviously the first Blade Runner, and to some degree, I wrote down, and a million times better than Ghost in the Shell. Remember when Ghost in the Shell was coming out with Scarlett Johansson? It tried to have that cyberpunk feel, that neo-noir feel, and nothing on.
It was okay, but nothing like this. No.
Did you learn anything?
Don't mess with Ryan Gosling. I don't know. He's the best,
isn't he?
Yeah.
I went. Harrison Ford at age 75 can still fight with the best of them. He even goes toe to toe with Gosling with a couple of punches.
Yeah, he's still got it, man.
He's 75 and he's still fighting.
It's Harrison
awesome.
Ford, man.
I know.
I mean, when he's done with the flight, he just crashes the plane and walks away. He's a badass.
He's a badass.
How about a movie poster quote, Matt?
Blade Runner is back. That's all I got.
I went with a visual masterpiece that demands to be seen on the big screen. And this is definitely one. You don't want to wait for home video or seeing it on your
Watch
computer.
it on your phone.
Yeah, Jesus. Go see it on the biggest screen you can and enjoy it. It needs to be seen.
Get dead center, halfway back, and kick back and watch this one. This is definitely one to see in the theater.
Let's assign some Jaws here, Matt. How many Jaws for Blade Runner 2049?
4.
I'm going 4 Jaws as well.
All right.
Wow, that is big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think we're going to be talking about this for the Oscars?
I mean, all the production type stuff from the costumes.
Best Picture?
Possibly.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I loved it. No ghosts necessarily in the movie.
Maybe Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, but that is our topic this week because we're here at Hell's Gate out in Lockport, Illinois, and we cover a horror topic each and every year with John LaFlamboy, and as we mentioned, we have not done ghost movies ever. So let's tackle ghosts. John, you're our guest. Was this a tough list for you to come up with, or did you have fun with it?
It was a tough list for me to whittle down. I still have a tie in 5th because I couldn't kick the other one off the list. I love ghost movies, of course. This is what I do. I do haunted houses for a living. So, ghost movies, zombie movies, horror movies in general, they're also the things that influence my work. So yeah, it was tricky for me to actually whittle it down.
Nice. So what do you got sitting at 5?
All right, let's go to my notes here because I had an issue. I had an issue going back and forth. But sitting and I'm gonna give it the tie because I just have to. I have tied for 5th because I could not mention Stir of Echoes, which is one of my favorite ghost movies. I love.
Is that Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, it's Kevin Bacon, and it's Southside Chicago. And I grew up on the South Side, and it had a very real, gritty South Side feel to it. I don't think movies ever really capture the South Side of Chicago very well. I think Shameless has it nailed. And I thought Stir of Echoes really had it. I thought it was a beautiful movie. The relationships, the neighborhoods, and how they really worked in that whole mystery of what happened. Just gorgeous film. I mean, I remember the first time I saw it, I was on the edge of my couch the entire time. So Stir of Echoes, often overlooked.
I would say yes. I've only seen it one time, and I
It's been a
remember
while.
liking it, but I've never revisited. I'll have to check it out again.
And the tie with Stir of Echoes, and people might hate me for this one, I had to give it to The Sixth Sense.
Low on your list?
Yeah, this could be really high on people's list.
Yeah, it's high on a lot of people's lists, I'm sure. I love it for what it was, and what it was for me was this great little mystery movie more than it was a scary ghost movie.
Sure.
I didn't feel, so that's why I kind of ranked it a little lower on me.
Okay.
Is I felt like it was a great mystery. That also was about ghosts.
I can agree with you on that.
But I love it, That's why when people give Shamalama a hard time,
Ding Dong, yeah.
Shamalama Ding Dong a hard time, is like, guys, he's also made some really great movies.
Yeah.
Some of them are awful. But this one I thought was a knockout of the park, and I was one of the people that did not know what was going on. I was one of the, I admit it freely.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my God, in the theater, he's dead. I'm sorry, spoiler alert. Sorry, guys.
That's
Bruce
fine.
Willis is dead.
Oh,
But yeah, so that's my fifth place.
I'm right with you. I was same. I remember I was hook, line, and sinker. I was like stunned, like,
Oh, yeah. The first time it got me as well,
Yeah.
for sure.
all right, Matt, what do you got sitting at 5?
Not nearly as good as those picks, but still a classic in its own right. 1986, The Wraith.
Ooh, I don't even know it.
No?
Neither do I.
Oh.
I don't know it either.
Wow.
Look at
Okay,
you.
guys. Charlie Sheen. Right? Charlie Sheen is basically murdered by a bunch of freaks and punks, biker gang type people. And Clint Howard is in this, by the way, in his best role since Rock and Roll High School. And he comes back to life, Charlie Sheen does, as the Wraith, who is a badass street
This can't
racer.
be good. This just can't be good.
I
Wait, is he
can't-
in like a motorcycle? Is that a
No,
motorcycle?
no, a car.
Okay.
And
Does he wear a leather jacket?
he races and thereby eliminates each one of the gang that killed him. And every time he does, he takes off one piece of his Wraith armor until he's Charlie Sheen again. But it's just, listen, that description doesn't do it, but
No.
trust me. This is 1980s cheesy horror comedy action at its best.
I'm sure the soundtrack is just magical.
It's Charlie Sheen. You have to see this movie.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Guys, trust me on this one. The Wraith.
I'll
I've
give
trusted
it a go.
you before,
I'll
but-
give it a go.
It's a classic.
Never works out well for me. All right, swings it over to my number 5. This could be higher on other people's list, perhaps. This one came out in 2001. Nicole Kidman in The Others. You guys fans of this one?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, just wanted to make
absolutely.
sure. I would actually say this is a disciple of The Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense came out like 1999. 2 years later, The Others comes out, and it again has the twist on the ghost and who's
Right.
real, right? But also, it's the scary mansion. You got this idea that you got to lock one door before you can open another door in the room. It's sort of like a gothic horror, I would phrase it as, and a nice twist at the end. I love watching it come right around Halloween time. Nicole Kidman and The Others, it's awesome. That's all I got to say about that.
Great.
No arguments here, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another great one with an awesome twist.
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
Yeah,
And
perfect.
pretty. It was a real pretty film.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
All right, we're into our 4s. John, what do you got there?
Number 4, I'm gonna go with something a little bit more timely. Something that recently came out. I think it's only a year and a half out of the theaters. The Conjuring 2. And I say The Conjuring 2 for. I liked Conjuring 1, I did, but I went and saw Conjuring 2 in the theaters. I went and saw it with a good friend of mine, Chad Savage. I don't know if you guys know Chad
good old
Savage.
Chad. No.
All right, okay. Chad Savage is he's known across the country. He's a dark artist, does websites and graphic art, and creates these amazing scary things. And big scary looking dude, right? We went and saw Conjuring 2. And there was a scare in Conjuring 2 that got Chad so bad that Chad lurched back in his chair, and we're in the final row, the back row of the theater. And that chair, one of those reclining chairs, smashed into that wall so hard, the entire theater jumped out of their chairs. Everybody in the theater, like as if a car had driven through the theater, that's the noise it made. And Chad got so scared, he then scared everyone in the theater.
Holy cow.
And I just had such a great experience watching this movie with other people, because I think horror movies should be watched
For
with
sure.
others.
I love seeing them in
It's
the
a
theater.
great community event, guys. And it was, all the scares were great. I thought it was a smart movie. I did not know exactly what was going on through it. I fell for a couple of the gags. And yeah, they had those good jump scares too, the old school jump scares. I just really loved it for that.
Yeah.
And seeing my buddy Chad Savage just lose his mind.
I'm a big fan of the first Conjuring and the second one. I like them both. So, yeah, good stuff.
No arguments here.
Yeah.
All right.
Matt, what do you got it for?
All right. At number 4, the name so nice you had to say it thrice. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice.
Now that's a great call.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so Tim Burton, obviously, and Michael Keaton, before he fell off the map. Now he's back. We're glad. But Beetlejuice was kind of this interesting look at the afterlife, which we hadn't gotten before. It was sort of like Pee Wee Herman-esque, you know? in his farcical way with the worms and the handbook for the recently deceased, and oh my God, the whole scene with the shrimp cocktail and what's that song? The Calypso song that they
Banana
do?
Man?
Yeah, the Banana Man song. That alone, it's actually kind of scary. Like when you watch it as a little kid, because I first encountered it when I was like 10, 9. It's got some scares in it, you know? It's freaky enough to be considered mostly comedy, but there's a horror line at the low end, and it's a ghost story. And it's a great
ghost story.
It's a great ghost story.
Great ghost story. I think it's a classic.
Nice pick. Swings it over to my number 4. I go with a Guillermo del Toro film, a master of horror.
I'm wondering if you're going where I think you're going.
Way back in 2001, he had a movie entitled The Devil's Backbone.
Yeah. Yep.
You familiar with this one?
Yeah. Great pick.
Yeah.
Octavio would be proud of you.
There you go. Yeah, Del Toro is mentioned here. Takes place in an orphanage during the Spanish Civil War, and a boy comes to live there. His parents have been killed, and he comes to live there. And the boy's name is like Carlos, and it's crazy. At one point, they're trying to bomb the orphanage, and a bomb goes into the courtyard, and it doesn't go off. So the rest of the movie has this diffused bomb in the middle of the courtyard. And, of course, Carlos comes there and starts to see ghosts and seeing other boys. And the mystery then sort of takes off from there. And it's again, I think a good ghost movie sometimes is a mystery movie where you don't know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's The Devil's Backbone. If you haven't seen it, this is a must.
Also another beautiful film.
Oh, yes.
I mean, a lot of these horror movies are just so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
People undervalue how beautiful some of these horror films are.
Yes. Del Toro, just an absolute master, and this was early on in his career, so loved it. See, throw it in the jaw box if that was his first directed film. Thanks, Phil.
It's definitely early.
Yes. All right, we're into our 3s. John, what do you got sitting there?
Sitting at 3. Let me look at my list here, because, man, the positioning on the list, I went back and forth. But sitting at 3, I'm going to get made fun of on this one. I know I am. Because I get made fun of on this one all the damn time. But it's a very personal reason as to why I love it. 13 Ghosts.
The one with Matthew
I hated
Lillard?
this movie. I'll
the
just
one with
flat out
Matthew
admit it.
Lillard, but more importantly, Tony Shalhoub. Because
Shalhoub.
I love
Monk.
Tony Shalhoub.
Anytime Monk appears,
Yeah, I'm on board. Whatever he's in,
I don't
I'm
even
on board,
remember him in
man.
this.
Yeah. But this is why. It wasn't that I think it's the greatest ghost movie in the world, because clearly there are some flaws in this movie. Some acting flaws, some directing flaws, and some, dialogue flaws. But the idea and the concept I loved very much of this house that held these ghosts.
Well, it's a remake, right?
And it's a remake. It is a remake. But what they did with the scenes and the cinematography of creating this glass house and this just panicked feeling when it started closing and locking down on Tony Shalhoub and his family. I just thought it was the tension that it built was just so gorgeous. And so I was into the movie. I loved it. I watched this back when it came out. I mean, that has to be something like 2000,
Yeah,
maybe.
throw it in the jaw box.
Maybe
When did 13
99
Ghosts come
or
out?
98.
It's early.
It's like late 90s, I think. But this is why I love it, is for this reason. I rented the DVD. Kids. We used to go to a place where we rented DVDs.
Wow.
Yeah. And at the end of the DVD were the bonus extras. And so I had opened up the bonus extras, started watching. And it was amazing. It was each one of those ghosts had its own little side file that you could learn about each ghost that was in the movie. And so as a haunted house designer, I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is cool. Oh, this makes me like the movie even more. And the next thing I knew, I started designing these icon characters for Statesville Haunted Prison. And then I started re-envisioning my website. And back then, all the websites were done with like the orange background and the black letters, AOL dot whatever. It was garbage. But I decided to do what 13 Ghosts did. And I created these icon characters with their own stories and their own videos. And that's how I built Statesville.
Oh.
So it was a big
when
influence on
So
you.
it was a huge influence for what I did, because what I did with that website did not exist anywhere else. And it changed how my customers approached my show, because now they could learn about my icon characters and what they did to get locked up in the prison, very, very similar to 13th Ghost, how you could learn of how they died and how they became a ghost and whatnot. I very much copied the model that I found on the extras, and it has served me like a champ ever since. So I have a loyalty to that film because it
Makes
changed
sense.
how I designed websites, did marketing, and designed my icon characters at my haunted houses. So I'm very grateful. Thank you, Tony Shalhoub. I love you.
Yeah, what I'm so shocked about is that me and John had such different experiences with 13 Ghosts. I also went to the video store, rented it, put it in the DVD, watched it, and when it ended, I just said, "What a piece of crap!" And I never even went over to the
Never
special
saw those
features.
extras, did you?
I was just like, let's return this garbage.
I was indifferent. No, Matthew Lillard. I love him, man.
Oh man, when he got cut in half,
Yeah,
fun stuff.
good stuff.
Matt, what do you got sitting at 3?
All right, so this is where, and this was torture for me because honestly, it's a tie at number 3 between two amazing Japanese horror films. Let's say American versions of Japanese horror films. Or you could take the Japanese versions. Really, it's interchangeable. This is where I have The Ring and The Grudge. If you put a gun to my head and said, Matt, you have to pick one, for this list, I guess I'm going to say The Grudge because that's the one that is more aggressively ghost. In fact, the spirits are like angry ghosts in The Grudge. And I think I don't know, this is objective or subjective, but I think it might be a little scarier.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No,
I love The Ring.
I was not scared by The Grudge. I remember being
get
very
out of here.
I wasn't.
Bullshit. I saw you jump like a little girl in the haunted house when somebody came across the corner.
Well, that's because somebody's jumping out at me. Yes, that's scary.
The
But
Grudge is scary
with
as
the,
hell.
no, that didn't scare me at all. I was laughing at that. Laughing.
I think he's full of crap.
No,
that
I
movie
would
was
tell
scary
you,
as hell.
Why? Why would I lie to you that I was? I'm telling you, I was scared at The Ring. The Grudge just wasn't scary.
Okay, all right, okay. Like I said, it's subjective which one is scarier. They're both fantastic entries, and they definitely changed the horror game because prior to that, we didn't have these classic Japanese ghost stories, which have been around for so long in the Japanese culture, and finally they make it over to America, and it basically cracked open the horror genre once
agree.
again. And it lasted for quite a while.
I would just say The Ring is far superior overall. Of
I
the film.
agree. But if we're like narrowing this down to like pure ghost stories, I think like if you're the Grudge is more of a ghost story than The Ring. My opinion. The Ring is more of a
give you that.
mystery.
I'll give you that.
It's more of a Scooby-Doo episode.
All right. Swings it over to my number 3.
Speaking of Matthew Lillard.
Swings it over to my number 3. This one came out in 2014. I am not positive if you saw this one, Matt. I'm hoping John did because I think he would be a big fan. The film is called It Follows.
I have not seen it yet.
Still haven't seen it.
Wow. You guys.
I've heard good things about it, though.
Being horror movie fans, you guys are going to like this one. It is basically, the premise is this. The ghost is passed on by people having sex. So there's obviously a theme going on here, right?
Sure.
So, but what's so interesting
Kind of like VD.
is only the person who the ghost is coming after, only that person can see the ghost. And it takes a human form, and it only walks at a walking pace. So if two people are together and the one is cursed, he's always asking the other person, like, do you see that lady over there? You know, you never know. Is it the ghost or is it not? And then if that person was to sleep with someone else, it would go after that person. But if it does kill that person, it comes back to the next person and so forth.
Wait, it comes back to the person who
Passed it before them.
Oh,
so you're never
shit.
completely out. It's not like, oh, I can just sleep with someone and then it's after them, because if it does kill them, then you're next on the list.
So real quick, I just want to clear this up in case this happens to me. If I have sex with lots of people, though,
Yes.
that will at least give me time.
Right.
So if a ghost starts hunting me, I need to get to sexing as fast as I can with as many people as possible.
I don't think it works like that. You got to have sex with
Shush, let's just say it works like that.
You got to have sex with a total like is somebody who's very promiscuous because then they will have
to have sex. Right.
Right.
So if you have sex, it passes it to that person. That person needs to have sex with someone to go to the next person.
Okay, so,
go to an
whoever I have
orgy.
sex with has to have loose morals
Right.
or whatnot.
There you go.
go to an orgy and you'll
Got
be
it.
just fine.
All right, nailed it.
But okay, it's really creepy, and the movie has like an 80s score to it, which you'll love, and it opens up with like a girl coming out of the house, running and you don't see the ghost in the scene. So it's just her running on the street around, get away from me, and she's running, and you can't see anything. So it was quite a striking opening. It's like, oh my God, gripping. It gets you. And then check it out. You'll love it. Follows.
Okay.
It's got a lot of good horror like tropes that are sort of reinvented inside this one.
Cool.
So recommend it. And I believe it's streaming on Netflix. Throw it in the jaw box. It follows. All right, here we are. We're into our twos, John.
We're at number 2. All right, so I'm going to go with one that just got me real good as a kid. So, of course, it lived with me forever. And it has such classic lines like,
Please.
don't go into the light, Carol Ann.
Please don't say Ghost Dad.
That was number 7. No, it's Poltergeist, man.
Nice.
I mean, that was when I was a kid. I remember sitting at my Aunt Kathy's house watching this movie, and I was probably way too young. And when his face started disintegrating in the mirror, I remember just backpedaling, like, you know how a dog drags its ass on the floor? Like, it was that in reverse, trying to get out of the room, but I couldn't take my eyes off of the screen. That movie got me so good as a kid. Beautiful movie. I mean, we quote it all the time. You moved the tombstones, but you didn't move the bodies. I probably didn't quote it accurately, but yeah, that movie is constantly living with me as an adult because of the impression it made as a child.
Yes. I remember not being able to see it as a kid. It was too scary for me.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's a really scary movie. You know, everybody thinks it's kind of like lightweight horror. No, it's a scary ass movie.
Yeah, I mean, even the lady that comes in to help them is scary.
Yeah.
I mean, she's tiny hands and she's got that voice. It just makes you think she might be one of the bad guys.
What is her name? Can we throw that in the jaw box? That actress's name? She's awesome.
Oh,
dude.
she's great. Oh, she's
Caroline,
great.
This house is clean.
Clean.
I love it.
Stop it. You guys are creeping me out. Matt, what do you got sitting at 2?
All right, and number 2, in all honesty, this is where I had the others. So I got to sub one out, and I'm going to go with another classic. I'm going with Paranormal Activity. I don't think this movie gets enough love because it sort of cracked open a genre that's become, let's just say, littered with wannabes and half-assed attempts at recreating itself.
And it had, 8 sequels. I don't know what number they're on.
Yeah, that's what it is. But the original Paranormal Activity was great. I think it sort of took what Blair Witch was doing and brought it into a modern like setting where it's not in the woods, and it made sense. I loved it. It was scary as hell.
Oh yeah.
And it got me. It got me at the end too. It had a nice like sort of twist. There's multiple endings. I've enjoyed them all, and I think it gets crap undeservedly. It's a classic.
Well, and yeah, it is a classic because there was also a filmmaker saying, okay, we're going to make a horror movie like this.
Yeah.
And it was a different way to make a horror movie. And it was, there was Blair Witch before, but this also was a little different, using security cameras, home monitoring cameras, that kind of source footage for the whole movie. And I think it's genius. I mean, look at it. It's gone how many years with sequel after sequel.
Around.
And I remember not wanting anything to do with it. When it first came out, I was like, ain't going to bother. And then one day I sat down and watched it. I'm like, wow, John, you were an idiot. This is a good movie. You should have watched it sooner. And I think, like you said, it took what Blair Witch did, but it added those jump scares.
Yeah, it was scary.
Blair Witch had a lot of like long creep scares and then a couple panic moments. Mm-hmm. But this had jump scare after jump scare after jump scare that really like... I love watching these movies sitting next to my girlfriend on the couch. Mm-hmm. I don't watch the movie. I just watch her.
Yeah.
and it's so much fun to watch her jump right off the couch, 2 feet in the air, and burn away out.
You know, the anticipation in horror films is the best. And when you got watching a couple of people sleep, that's anticipation. You know, you're waiting for something to happen.
You like to watch people sleep, don't you?
He does.
I do. All right. Swings it over to my number 2. This one is not a scary movie at all.
Oh, no.
I just mentioned earlier, we reviewed this only a few weeks ago, and it is one of my favorite movies of this year. It came out in 2017.
All right, good.
Casey Affleck, Rooney Mara in A Ghost Story.
Come on.
Yes, I'm telling you, this is a great movie. You can't bash it because you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, but it looks corny with him wearing the sheet.
It's a bedsheet ghost. So the idea is that he is killed in a car accident, Casey Affleck. He has the white sheet over him at the coroner's office.
Okay.
Rooney Mara is his girlfriend, goes to see him down at the morgue. They identify him. She leaves, and then basically you see him get up with that sheet on, and it becomes the classic, bedsheet ghost with the eyes. But
does he cut the eyes out? I don't get it. Like, how does he get the eye holes?
I don't know. They don't really
Looks like
show.
Charlie Brown.
No, yeah, I mean, it's just got a look. But anyways, he doesn't go around scaring anybody. He goes back to the house to try to communicate or make some type of, connection
Something.
with Rooney Mara stuff.
Sure.
So it has a little bit of a
Does he
ghost
shout at
feel.
cats?
But really, then you're looking at the life of the ghost. What if you were a ghost? Time is explored. Existence is explored. Places like, what does it mean, your house? You think so much of your house, but what is your house in 500 years? I'm sure it's going to be something completely different. Everything's going to change, and he's still a ghost. It's you got to see it. It's different, and it has literally a shot of Rooney Mara eating an entire pie, uncut, just stagnant. Watcher just eat the whole thing.
Like to watch women eat pie.
Yes, there you go.
All right, I'll give it a go.
And the reason I mentioned it on the list, it's at number 2. It just came out on DVD, and you can download it. So watch the movie.
Okay.
Video on demand. Do it, Matt.
I will.
It's one of the best.
Probably I won't.
All right. That was my number 2, a ghost story. This is CinemaJaw, and this is our favorite ghost movies. John, what do you got?
Here's Johnny. Have to go with The Shining.
This does not bode well for you in CinemaWAR, my friend.
Just have to go with The Shining. And also because it influenced me when I was younger. I loved the movie from beginning to end. It was some of the weirdest things I'd ever seen as a child. Some of the weirdest images with the elevators opening up with the blood river and the 2 little girls on the bicycles.
Yeah.
And it's over and over and over again. It was these images that just kind of were pervasive and kind of crawled into your head and never, ever left. I mean, I think we could all see that axe splintering that door. I mean, even watching the behind the scenes of when they shot that scene and how they shot that scene. That alone is magical and powerful and scary.
Gives you chills.
It really does, yeah. So I have to go with The Shining because at the end of the day, when I lined up all my other movies and I was trying to see which one is more significant, which one has influenced more, which one lives in people's heads, I got to go with it.
You can only imagine how embarrassing it would have been if you would have had 13 ghosts over The Shining. Right?
Oh, yeah.
That just can't happen.
I couldn't come on this show.
Nice pick at The Shining. That is a quality number 1. Matt,
Absolutely.
can you follow that up?
Well, yes and no. So this is where I had Sixth Sense. I think it's a worthy number 1.
Yeah, sure.
All right. If I got to throw another one at number 1, this is the only one I think deserves to be in the same company as Sixth Sense. Ghostbusters.
Damn. How did that not make my list?
But 13 ghosts did.
You go to hell. I built a company off of it.
Ghostbusters is an absolute freaking horror comedy classic. In fact, I don't think it's ever been approached. Shaun of the Dead be damned. I think Ghostbusters stands on a pedestal.
One of the greatest, horror comedies ever. It's funny because I've always looked at it just as a comedy. But you're absolutely right. It's a ghost movie. It's a ghost story.
It's scary.
Absolutely. It's called Ghostbusters.
Sure.
It's in the goddamn title.
It's right in the title, John. Come on.
Well done. Well done. I'm embarrassed it's not on my list.
And that scene when they go into the New York Public Library's basement, and all the books are floating around. To this day, I think it's scary as hell when the ghost turns to it and just goes, shh.
Yeah. Yep.
It got me as a little kid. It still gets me. It's creepy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm glad it was mentioned.
Yeah, that's my sub out.
There you go. Swings it over to my number 1. This one came out in 2007. Spanish film. Hopefully you guys have seen this one.
Well done.
I'm speaking of The Orphanage.
Yep. Fantastic movie.
I mean, this is actually my favorite horror film. I think because it works so well as a mystery, right? And this is what we were talking about before, that you're so drawn in that my intention is trying to figure out what has happened to this child. This is basically the story of a lady, Laura, who moves back into a house that was where she grew up, and at that time it was an orphanage. Now she wants her family to live there, and her son goes missing. And this mystery to try to find her son ends up having her trying to communicate with ghosts, some of the orphans that have died in the house, and she's trying to communicate with them, thinking that maybe they would give some clues to find the missing child. And I think what it is that I'm so focused on the mystery of it that it opens myself up for the jump scares. Mm-hmm. And there is a shot where like a lady gets hit by a bus in the movie, and I remember I was watching this home, and it's that kind of reaction where I like literally fell off the couch in just shock and scare, and I was just oh, something came out of my mouth that was just what was that? I was so into the movie.
Oh, it's a great scare.
I love The Orphanage. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
love that film.
Great pick.
that's my number one. Any honorable mentions that were not mentioned? I got only 3 that were not mentioned. I have
No, I got them all.
Paranorman, which was the animated film. I like The Lovely Bones,
Oh yeah,
where she's the ghost
Real sad.
trying. Yeah,
I try to forget
but
that
different. And then The Babadook.
Oh,
Babadook's
Babadook, yeah,
Great one.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
there you go. I'm sure we might have missed some.
There was another one I was about to throw out there because I guess at the end it's kind of a ghost story, Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, we're talking Del Toro.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's it. I mean, he right now I believe is the ghost story guy and has been for a decade now.
Yeah.
When you're talking about ghost stories, and his ghost stories, like you say, it's that mystery. That we were talking about. It pulls you in. And so you get blindsided by those scares. It's just something we try to do at Hell's Gate. We try to bring you in with that sense of awe and then scare you. And I think he does a great job with that. And Pan's Labyrinth, the twist at the end makes me feel like it's a ghost story.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
It's definitely a scary movie.
It is. If we missed your favorite ghost story and you have Twitter pulled up, shoot us a tweet at CinemaJaw or send us an email, feedback@cinemajaw.com. We'll get the discussion going. What we're going to do is take a quick break, and when we come back, John is taking Matt on in Hell's Gate movie trivia, plus a CinemaWAR looking at scary movie settings. We'll be right back on CinemaJaw.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
Hey Jawheads, this is Matt Kay, and I just wanted to let you know, if you're a fan of CinemaJaw, if you're a Jawhead, why not become a patron on Patreon? It's super easy. Go to patreon.com/CinemaJaw. It's just like Kickstarter. There's different levels you can pledge, fit your own budget. And you get cool rewards like t-shirts, CinemaJaw flasks, and fun stuff like that. Plus, our undying gratitude and love. So again, check it out. It's patreon.com/CinemaJaw. There's some cool stuff there, and we hope you will do it.
Also, Jawheads, if you can't become a Patreon, but you still want to help the show, there are other ways you can do that. One of those is leaving us a review on iTunes. All those reviews do help attract new listeners, and that's what we want, more listeners. So please go to iTunes, leave us a review, and we thank you.
To get ourselves a treat.
And we are back on CinemaJaw, hanging out at Hell's Gate, located at 3101 Canal Street, Lockport, Illinois. Get your tickets at hellsgate.com. John, got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you were tearing down part of the asylum, I think, at Statesville.
Statesville, yeah.
Do you ever then turn and sell some of those sets to other haunted houses?
No.
Is that part of a business? What's the protocol there?
We don't do that.
Do people do that, though?
Yeah, sure. Other people do that. They.
But you guys are like the best in the biz.
well,
so you guys probably don't want to.
Also, the thing is, everything we do is custom. Everything we do is custom for our show. There are people that circulate their sets from one show to another. They buy a set, they put it in, they move it away. It's just not us. We build. That's our art. That's our stuff. So, for us, the number one priority is stripping it down to its bones. When we're tearing out a room, we try to reuse every single piece. So every 2x4, every skin, every prop, we just find a new way to put it in the show. That's part of the challenge. The creative challenge is to, it may have been Maniac Ward stuff that we're moving into the caves, but we bring in our artists, we repaint things, we put new costumes on things. But we are a reuse company. We try never to throw anything away.
That's good. There was in Hell's Gate, when we're going through the basement, like the morgue, there's this body. There were two awesome looking bodies. One was the dead mermaid.
Yeah, merman. Don't be a
it was
sexist.
a merman. Okay,
Yeah.
It was a merman.
God, so
that
rude
was
of you.
awesome, though. I just wanted to stare and look at that thing for a while. And then when you're going through the morgue, there is this body that the chest is on the table. It's open up. It looks like there's like maggots and everything in there. And in there, I was telling these guys, they had walked through the room, and I turned back and I looked, and the guy, the actor in there, had like a Birdman mask.
That's a morgue, a plague mask.
Oh, it's a plague mask. Well,
yeah.
he comes down and he starts pecking away at the body with that plague mask. I almost threw up. It was so disgusting. I know I'm going to have a nightmare about that image. I looked back. I'm like, oh, what the hell is that guy doing?
Yeah,
That was
and on the, we like doing custom stuff. All the bodies at Hell's Gate, you won't see at another haunted house. We literally work with the different vendors, the different artists, and we don't just buy bodies off the shelf. Like, we want all of our stuff here custom. So you do not see these props in other places. Every body in that morgue was custom made for this place.
Awesome.
That's why there's not a drop of blood. It's all the darkness. It's all black. So we get real finicky with our custom stuff here.
Good stuff.
I like it.
Yeah, so definitely if you're in the Midwest, get out to Hell's Gate or Statesville Haunted Prison. Go online, get your tickets. And as John says, come out on a Thursday. You'll have a great time.
Yeah.
So they are open all the way through Halloween, Thursday through Sunday. So there you go.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Before we get to CinemaWAR, before we get to trivia, we did throw a couple items into the jaw box. And I know
It's
Filmman
haunted.
Phil is scared down there.
Yeah.
Let's open up that jaw box.
What's your pleasure, Mr. Cotton?
The box.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, I am scared. I also have a lot of paper cuts because you put a lot of stuff in. It was a big jaw box, and I'm very glad Elias wasn't here because it would have been a nightmare to fit both of us. With that said, let's jump on in. The first question I have was The Devil's Backbone Guillermo del Toro's first film? No, it was not. He actually, his first film was a Mexican horror film, which is why we wouldn't know it most likely, called Kronos, which was released in 1993.
I have heard
I've heard of it too.
That's the same year I was born. And then
Jesus Christ, Phil.
Gotta rub it in.
Jeez.
Yeah.
an American horror film called Mimic after that one.
He did Mimic, that's right. I knew that too.
Yeah, and that one was 1997. And then his third one was The Devil's Backbone in 2001.
Okay.
The next one, I have When Did 13 Ghosts Come Out? And that was in 2001. Okay. So pretty close. Is It Follows streaming? It is on Netflix for free, and then to rent on Amazon Video.
There you go. It Follows. Good one. For if you haven't seen it, I'm telling you, for a Halloween watch. It's
Netflix, yeah. I'm doing it.
Yeah, can't beat that for free. And then the last one, who is the creepy exorcist helper lady in Poltergeist? Tangina Barons is played by Zelda Rubinstein.
That's such a great name.
Both names are great.
Right.
Like, her real name and her character name are both two amazing names.
They are.
Good stuff. That was everything?
That is all.
All right, get back in that jaw box.
Can do. Thank you.
Matt, it brings us to a segment called
CinemaWAR.
CinemaWAR. It works like this. Me and Matt, we're fighting on a topic. John LaFlamboy, our guest and jury this week, gets to tell the Jawheads who he thinks won the CinemaWAR.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's important because we're fighting for jaw time here, Matt. Scary movie settings is the topic. Phil, tell the Jawheads at home what today's CinemaWAR topic is.
Today's CinemaWAR topic: which horror film has the scarier setting? The Amityville Horror House or Overlook Hotel from The Shining? Rye, you'll be fighting for Amityville Horror's House. Matt, you'll be fighting for the Overlook Hotel. Let this haunting cinema war begin.
Let me start with the exterior of the Amityville house. The Dutch-style house with those two curved windows. It made it seem like the house comes alive, and those windows were its eyes, creepy as hell, just from the outside, Matt.
Ryan, you are basing your entire argument on some spooky windows. Wow. Those look nice in a lightning flash. Meanwhile, the Overlook Hotel is remote, isolated, snowed in, and you're trapped there. The Overlook is 5-star scary. The Amityville is horror Airbnb.
But here's why it gets to me, and it crawls under my skin, Matt. The house is based on an actual house where a father shot and killed 6 members of his family. For no other reason than that, the Amityville house is scary as hell. I would not stay there.
Listen, Stanley Kubrick, conspiracy theories, Stephen King versus a couple of washed-up fake psychics. One of these is a masterpiece. The other is an also-ran.
Wow. The Outlook Hotel was populated with scary people, but the building itself, I did not find that creepy. The Amityville house is the whole reason the Amityville movie is scary. It is the center character of the whole entire film. It works with the house or it doesn't.
I don't know. It's a small suburban house versus a sprawling mountain resort. Just square footage-wise, the Overlook has you beat. Every room, every corridor has a horrible secret attached to it. Amityville, you just have one story and a spooky basement. Boo-hoo.
Yeah, but see, Amityville had sequels that were equally scary. Amityville 2, we see the passage to hell in the basement, plus the house is on the water with that boathouse. All kinds of creepy sounds from it. By far, Amityville Horror wins.
All right. Right, go get lost in a hedge maze. Your spooky windows just got smashed by the rocks of my reason. Amityville is spooky, but the Overlook is the most terrifying location of all time. You have been the caretaker. You have always been here, Ryan.
Ooh. We are button heads as we do each and every week. We throw it to our guest, our jury, our executioner this week, John LaFlamboy. What did you think of this CinemaWAR?
Oh God! I was looking for this battle that was about to happen. I was looking for this exciting drama that I would have to sift through and find the golden nuggets to make my decision. But for the love of Jesus Christ on a pogo stick, the windows. You know what else had windows? Monster House. It was an animated film for kids. That also looked like a big scary face too. And that house was in suburbia. Walk out the front goddamn door. Go to your neighbors. Ask for some sugar, eggs, and another place to sleep. I mean, there's nothing scary about a house in suburbia. Yes, a dad killed his whole family. But hey, you know what? There are lots of dads that kill their whole goddamn family. Things happen. Life goes sideways on you.
I still think I can win this thing.
Yeah, not even. The Overlook. I mean, come on. I mean, just driving up the road, you know you're doomed. There's just that. I mean, we're talking about the house, but let's not forget the approach to the house.
Sure.
With little Danny in the back looking at this amazing drive.
You didn't forget the approach here.
Unbelievable. It's so scary. Just getting there is scary.
Yes.
I mean, a good storm cuts out all of the rest of the world. In your suburbia, you just walk across the street, okay? Hey, Daddy's acting weird. I'm going to leave. Overlook, you're doomed. It snows. You're done. You go to a hedge maze. You're done.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, the hallways in that. No one looks at long hallways in a hotel without thinking of The Shining now.
Sure.
I mean, to say that that's not scary and that Amityville House is ridiculous. Like those long hallways in every hotel now. Everyone is waiting for twins at the end of it and a blood river to come flowing at you. The bar scene.
Even the carpet is scary.
Even the carpet is scary. Absolutely 100%. It's foreboding. It's massive. It's a monster sitting on the mountain. And once you get there, you're done. You are in the belly of the beast.
So what you're saying, if I think I have this right, is that Matt won?
I'm still not sure.
Do I have that correct?
Yeah, your house is sitting next to a Whole Foods. Matt won.
Wow.
Jeez.
Wow.
And once again, he's like, I'm going to take the Amityville house. You're done, dude.
And to set the scene to the Jawheads, because that was quite the rant, we're sitting rather close. So John was like right down my throat on that one. That was awesome. Wow. I mean, woo. All right, Matt, that earns you 20 seconds of Jaw time.
It can't follow up that rant. It just can't.
You can rant and rave on whatever you want.
All right.
I have passion.
Here's the thing. You know what? This is how I'm going to spend it. I hope this falls on some receptive ears. Wikipedia, right? They throw up this give to Wikipedia once or twice a year, something like that. We use it all the time. At least I do for my research. There's a lot of great podcasts to listen to. I just gave $3 to Wikipedia. Give $3 to Wikipedia. Don't be so stingy. It's a great resource.
Huh.
It's the weirdest rant I've ever heard.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming at all.
No, me neither.
Not a lot of great causes out there, but I like Wikipedia.
Yeah, so that's why I bought the beer today. On the way out here, hey, could you get the beer?
I did not say that. I said, do you want me to get the beer?
Wikipedia.
You're like, no, I'll get the beer because you're going to be late.
Wikipedia.
Yeah. Well, look up on Wikipedia who bought the beer today. It's going to say me.
That's right.
All right. Brings us to trivia. Because we are at Hell's Gate, the best haunted house in Illinois, Midwest, and America, we are playing Hell's Gate movie trivia.
All right.
It works like this, Matt. Think of movies with either hell in the title or gate in the title. John, you're our guest. You could choose if you want to go first or let Matt go first. There are steals, and if you get hung up on any question, you get one trip to fill me in Phil. Phil has clues to all the questions.
Huh. You know what? I'll defer.
Question 1 over to Matt K.
Okay.
Matt, name the 1987 horror film that had the character named Pinhead in it.
Oh, God damn it.
Hellraiser.
Hell's Gate movie trivia. See? Hell?
Got it.
Question 2. Name the actor who played Hellboy in Hellboy 1 and 2.
Ron Perlman.
1-1. I like this.
Yeah.
Question 3 over to Matt K. Matt, in 1999, Johnny Depp starred as a book collector in this film that was directed by Roman Polanski. Name it.
A book collector.
Oh, well, come steal this.
1999.
I'm gonna come steal this from you.
1999.
So I'm
Right up your backside.
Roman
gut
Polanski.
my
Go
gut
get
is
this
to
from
say
you.
Secret Window, but that's not right.
I'm gonna steal this from you. I'm on ya. Crawling up your backside.
It's not helping me think.
Ring the bell.
Secret Window. I got nothing. He knows it.
That is incorrect, John. You got a chance for a steal and to blow this game wide open. 1999.
I don't
Johnny
actually
Depp,
know it. I don't.
directed by Roman Polanski.
But I know Gates in the title, and I don't think it's the 13th gate. I think it's the 9th gate.
Nailed it. The 9th gate. It
Because
is.
9th gate sounds cool. I knew it was a number. I just, in my head, I'm like, 1 gate? No. 2 gate?
Wow.
No, that's stupid. 3 gate? No, that's dumb too.
It is now 2-1, John, and question 4 is over to him. This could be a huge swing here. John, in 1994, this actor starred as Colonel Jack O'Neill in the sci-fi film
Stargate.
Stargate. Name the actor who starred in. As,
Richard Dean Anderson.
No, name the actor who starred as Colonel Jack O'Neill. The main actor in Stargate.
Main actor in Stargate is MacGyver. Right? Main actor in Stargate is MacGyver. I thought that was Richard Dean Anderson. I thought he was the actual main actor. Or are we
This
talking
is
about
the movie.
James Spader?
This is the movie too. I want to make sure we're not talking about the television show.
Oh, okay.
This is the movie Stargate.
Kurt Russell. Sorry, I was just thinking of the TV show. I love that show.
I forgot that it even was a TV show. So yeah.
It's a great TV show.
All of a sudden, I heard him go there. I thought,
hold
I
on.
should clarify.
There were
We're
all
talking
those
about the movie.
spin-offs, too. Let's
Yeah.
not forget about all the
Stargate
other
S5.
Atlantis, and I was a
I've never seen
fan.
any of them. Yeah.
What?
No. Yeah. It is 3-1, John, and question 5 is over to Matt. Matt, you need these now.
Okay.
Chris Pine, Ben Foster, and Jeff Bridges starred in this 2016 film about two brothers robbing banks. Name it.
Hell or High Water.
High five, buddy.
Did
That's
you like
great
that one?
movie.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
movie.
I liked it too.
3-2, Matt crawling back into it. Question 6 over to John. In the 2001 film From Hell, Johnny Depp starred in the movie about Jack the Ripper, but what actress starred alongside him as Mary Kelly in the film? Johnny Depp.
I don't know
and
the
who?
answer, so I'm just going to go.
Oh, you do have a trip to the Fill Me and Phil if you need it.
no,
only-
I'm just
only
going to go Helena
questions.
Bonham Carter. Yeah, all right.
That is incorrect. Matt, you got a chance for a steal.
I think
and
it was a
tie up.
blonde. I think it was a blonde. I'm going to guess Kirsten Dunst. No.
We were looking for Heather Graham.
Oh, I was right on the blonde. I guess Kirsten Dunst is a ginger?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Heather Graham and
Heather
Johnny
Graham.
Depp in
Okay.
From Hell. All right, it sits like this. Still 3-2, John. Question 7 is over to Matt K. Matt, name the 1980 film that starred Chris Christopher Walken, and John Hurt. It took place in Wyoming.
I'm going to go to Fill Me and Phil.
Whoa, Fill Me in, Phil. Question number 7. What was the name of that 1980 Chris Christopherson film?
Your clue is you would have to walk through this to meet God.
Heaven's Gate.
Ties it up. 3-3. Last question of the game over to John. You can win it on a walk-off.
Win it right here, huh?
Yes. And you know, he's very competitive. You can tell. He wants to win.
He does.
Aggressively competitive.
John, name Sam Raimi's last directed horror film. It came out in 2009 and was about a supernatural curse.
Yeah.
Name it.
Drag Me to Hell.
That was an easy one. Come on.
Sorry.
Well
John
done.
wins this one.
You're
4-3.
You're getting a little excited here, kids.
If it came down to a jawbreaker, this question would have been over to John. Better Hellboy movie, 1 or 2?
You know, I'm always a big fan of the original, so I'm always a fan of the first one, of course.
We'd give him that one.
I like origin stories, kids.
Same.
That wasn't the real jawbreaker. The real jawbreaker was this. Age of Sam Raimi, closest to. Matt, you got a guess?
Oh, wow. I have no idea. Sam Raimi. I just don't even have a baseline. I would say 60.
And I'm going
Lock
to
him in
go.
at 60, John.
I'm going to go with 54.
We give that one to, well, it's a tie. He's 57.
High five.
He will be 58 October 23rd. So
Oh, he's an October baby.
that's what I thought. It's nice that Sam Raimi's birthday is in October.
Yeah.
since
I
he's
agree.
Such a
Yeah, I like
great
it.
horror
I
film
like it.
director. So, yeah. Well, he wins this one, John. That was good trivia. Brings us
Yeah.
to the end of a great job. First and foremost, it is always a pleasure to come out here. We've talked just recently about some of the perks and highlights of doing CinemaJaw, and this is clearly one of them. Coming out here and going through the haunt and then talking to John is seriously one of my favorite shows every single year. So thanks for having
guys.
us.
No, it's great having you guys out here. It's yeah, Hell's Gate loves having friends come. It's like our big little clubhouse that we built. We love having people come out. So thanks again for coming out.
It's
Absolutely.
a tradition. So we also got to thank all our sponsors.
Yeah, thanks all the sponsors and the Chicago Podcast Co-op who help us get those sponsors.
We also got to thank our engineer this week, Fill Me and Phil.
Yeah, thank you guys. I do, real quick, have to give a personal shout out to John. One, because the house was amazing. And then two, as a dork, he has so much credit in my book. One, because there's one S and a more differenter S in his notes to make Trogdor that I've been seeing the whole night. And then
Well done on the Trogdors.
two, that his victory anthem is the Empirical March. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Oh, yeah, we
but
noticed.
that was amazing.
That was good.
That his the most victorious song that came to his mind was the Darkest Sith Lord's theme.
That's how you do it, Phil.
That is good
Thank you,
stuff.
Phil. Thank you, Phil.
Yes. And I'm taunting. Just try, please, try me. Get this October riddle. Hit it, man.
I like when you taunt him. All right, here we go. October's riddle. I have played Matt Damon's brother. I have also portrayed a famous television actor in a movie. I starred with Pierce Brosnan in a film when he was not playing James Bond. I have played a motivational speaker. I have been Jack Nicholson's neighbor, and I have played a ghost in a comedy. Who am I?
If you know the answer to the October riddle, write us. feedback@cinemajaw.com. All right, Matt. Until next week, I'm Ryan the Movie Guy.
I'm Matt Kay, and keep on jawing about the movies.